Berry noticed it first. From outside there came a sound. Now what was it? It wasn't a trumpet or the ring of a bell. It didn't arrive with a knock at the door. It wasn't the sound of morning at all. But it was a sound that felt festive. Berry paused halfway through tying his shoelace. From somewhere down the lane came the low, cheerful creak of wooden wheels, followed by a distant laugh. Then fabric, canvas being unfurled, made a soft whoomph sound in the breeze. Berry's ears lifted. "It's started," he said. In the kitchen, Rosco looked up from whisking eggs. "Ah," he said calmly, "so it has." The bunnies gathered at the window. Where yesterday there had been only the lane and the hedge, there were now ribbons of colour, bunting strung from post to post, gently lifting with a flap and a snap, waving to the passers-by. A handcart rolled past, stacked high with folded tables. Someone further along the lane was singing a country song. Bright was the tune, the words just out of earshot. What was that? Something about meadows in June? The fair, it seemed, had arrived. "Well then," Rosco said, setting the eggs back in the fridge. "Let's not keep it waiting." They carried their things carefully. The fairy cakes nestled in a tin and were cushioned with paper. The pumpkin, creamily round with sunshine inside, was in a cotton bag, a handle each carried by Floyd and Caratina. Millie Moonbeam's drawing of Mr. Bramblewick's garden gate slipped between two boards and tied with string. The bundle of books, ready to change paws and begin life again in a new cottage reading nook. They walked together down the lane, the morning cool and vividly bright. As they reached the green, the fair opened itself up to them. Not all at once, but piece by piece as they gazed around and took it all in. A line of stalls curved around the grass. Some had roofs striped red and white, some were plain and some were patched. The cafe tent was already a doing of. Kettles were steaming and cups clinked in saucers, cutlery rattled in tins, biscuits were placed on plates, and so were slices of cake. Somewhere a fiddle tried a note, then another, then stopped to think about it. "Oh my," said Millie Moonbeam softly. She wasn't pointing at anything in particular, just everything. Hazel Patterpaw was exactly where Rosco expected her to be, beside the cafe tent, clipboard tucked under one arm, apron crisp, whiskers alert. "Rosco," she said, smiling brightly, "you've brought them." "We have indeed," Rosco replied. "The fairiest of fairy cakes, if you please," he said in a flourish. The fairy cakes were unpacked and admired with oohs and ahs. "Oh, these will do nicely," Hazel Patterpaw said, already reaching for the labels. "Not too big, not too small. People like a cake they can finish without having to overfill one's tumblington." Berry felt a small glow of pride. The cakes were placed among Bakewell tarts, iced buns and cream slices, and just like that, they were part of the fair. The vegetable exhibition sat beneath a wide green awning, calm and unhurried. Vegetables lay on tables like they were posing for portraits. Long carrots with wispy green leaves sticking straight up as though they'd had a rather brilliant idea. There were cabbages as round as moons, and potatoes with knobbly lumps and bumps that made them look decidedly cheerful. Farmer Thistledown stood nearby, hands clasped behind his back, swaying to and fro in admiration. "Ah," he said warmly as the bunnies approached, "a roly-poly portly pumpkin, or should I say plumpkin?" Farmer Thistledown chuckled to himself and found it difficult to stop. They set the pumpkin down. Raider Biscuits was already at the vegetable exhibition and was nodding knowledgeably at a parsnip. "Nice shape, just right," he said to no one in particular. Berry leaned close to their pumpkin and whispered, "Behave." The pumpkin did. At the picture exhibition, bunting framed the space like a smile. Hilary Pickle stood beaming, paint-splashed apron fluttering. Millie Moonbeam's picture was placed gently among others. There were landscapes, woodland animals, windows, paths, and now a welcoming gate. People stopped. They didn't hurry past. A field mouse tilted her head. Another leaned closer. Someone smiled. Millie Moonbeam felt her shoulders soften. "It's like they're seeing things in their own special way," she said. "That's usually when pictures do their best," Rosco replied. They wandered, moseyed and meandered, past a ploughing demonstration where horses leaned into the earth with steady patience, carving furrows that crumbled and tumbled, past sheep being shorn, their wool lifting away in one long, satisfying piece, past a row of vintage tractors, bright, solid and proud to still be useful. They tried the beanbag through the hoop game. Berry missed, his beanbag plopping with a whump on the grass. Floyd missed by a country mile. Caratina missed gracefully, her beanbag landing just a little short. Rosco got his beanbag through on the third try and pretended it was luck. They did laugh. At Tracy Windleshank's tent, the air was quieter. Books lay everywhere, stacked, spread, propped open. "Ah," said Tracy Windleshanks, peering over her spectacles. "Travellers." They offered their bundle of books. "These will do very nicely," she said. "Stories like to get their walking boots on and find a new audience now and then." Berry ran his paw along a shelf. "It feels like the books are visiting the fair too," he said. Tracy smiled. "Oh, they always do, and they always find lovely new homes. You'll see." The bunnies had lunch under the food tent. There were pies from Nash's bakery, of course there were. Potato and leek, spinach and cheese, and one with asparagus tips. Then there was bread thick with butter, apples crisp, tart and sharp, and delicious elderflower cordial served in a nicely cooled glass. They sat on benches, feet swinging, listening to the low music of the fair all around them. Conversation, cutlery, laughter that rose and fell like confetti. They met old friends, made room for new ones. Time passed, not quickly, not slowly, but generously. Before heading home, they chose some small things from the craft store. They wanted something to remember the day by. A wooden whistle, a ribbon, a tiny hand-thrown bowl glazed the colour of sky just before evening. Nothing big, just enough to remember how the day felt. As the sun tipped toward late afternoon, the fair softened. The music slowed. The bunting waved in the breeze more leisurely now. The village felt full. Rosco looked around. "Well," he said, "I think we've had just the right amount." Berry nodded. "It feels like the whole village has enjoyed something together." "That's because it has," Rosco replied. They walked home with lighter steps and full hearts. Behind them the fair faded, the sounds taken on the evening breeze. Ahead of them their thatched cottage waited, calm and at its sleepy ease. All was snug. All was well. Night-night.